recognizes that what's happening surrounding the nonstop influx of illegal aliens is criminal. Everyone recognizes that something evil is among us. We have an administration that is run by criminals who hate America.
Yes.
It's not an accident. This is by design.
Yes.
This is not deep in the heart of Texas. This is Chicago, Illinois. In Chicago, Illinois, bastion of Democrat politics, I don't think they've had a Republican in charge of that city or in charge, God, over 100 years, probably more, right? Well, every day, Chicagoans have had enough. They've had enough of their city resources being drained by the Democrats who run that city, accommodating the Democrat who is sitting in the White House to try to cover up and deal with and mitigate the disaster that is illegal immigration as it lives out every single day in that fair city. I want you to look at this woman who testified at a local city council meeting. Does she look like a right-wing Republican? Does this look like somebody who would beat up Jesse Smollett in the middle of the night in Chicago? Does she look like she's from MAGA country? I want you to listen to what she has to say about how things are currently in Chicago and who she blames for it. And I also want you to hear the reaction of the people in the room and just let your imagination take off for you. Do you think these are Trump MAGA hat wearing Republicans who are upset in Chicago? Or do you think these are Obama Biden Democrats? Take a watch.
I'd like to start off with something Edward Snowden, a whistleblower, once said. He said, when exposing a crime is treated as committing a crime, you are being ruled by criminals. Yeah. Everyone in this room recognizes that what's happening surrounding the nonstop influx of illegal aliens is criminal.
Yes.
Everyone recognizes that something evil is among us, and Americans are not ready for the fundamental impacts this will have. In fact, we can't even fathom it because we've never seen anything like this.
Right.
Yeah.
We have an administration that is run by criminals who hate America.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
why they protect these criminals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Police have been instructed from above to not mess with them.
Right.
So no matter what these criminal aliens do, they're always released. It's not an accident. This is by design.
Yes.
And we have a garbage media that gets paid for lousy coverage. We have a media that protects criminals.
Yes.
It seems as if every level of government has been bought out.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes you wonder how many seats in government have been bought out by foreign influence.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a government that uses language to weaponize the masses.
Mm-hmm.
They're not illegal aliens, they're asylum seekers.
Right.
They're refugees.
Right.
And they throw these terms around so that the people of America feel guilty. Because nobody wants to be a bad person. We all aim to be good. But there's a distinction between goodness and tolerance. There's a difference between goodness and naiveness. And unfortunately, I believe the majority of Americans are not acting out of a spirit of goodness, but rather out of a spirit of cowardliness and naiveness.
Yes.
And we have the Committee on Immigrant and Refugee Rights, headed by anti-American Alderman Andrew Boston. Again, they really throw around those friendly terms, but I like to call them what they are: the pro-criminal committee,
Oh.
the anti-American committee.
Yes.
They're here not for people, but to destroy America. These groups are enemies of America. How many illegals are you housing in your home, Vasquez?
Uh-oh.
Since you love them so much, house them in your own home. Use your own money to fund them.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to let her finish, but I just want to pause for a second and recognize what you're hearing, what you're seeing, where it's taking place. This is not some town hall meeting in the rural suburbs of Nashville. This is not deep in the heart of Texas. This is Chicago, Illinois. And this woman probably wasn't politically active at all, let alone politically active against what she's calling out as the anti-American criminal corruption in the Democratic Party that runs that city top to bottom. As the title on the video says, Chicago is waking up. Now, is Chicago or Illinois going to suddenly start voting Republican? No, they haven't done that since 1984. Of course not. But this is indicative of what's happening not just in Chicago, but literally in every major city in America. That includes just north of Chicago in Milwaukee, where Wisconsin's a little bit different. Also northeast in Detroit, where Michigan is also a little bit different. And can we also point out Pittsburgh and Philadelphia in the state of Pennsylvania? Yeah. And of course, Arizona is already 1,000% understanding exactly how their state is being destroyed by this president's policies. And they know very well who's responsible for it. It's April 2nd. And we've got what? 7 months until Election Day? And this is already the energy against Joe Biden. Does anyone here think that they're going to let Joe Biden stay on the ticket all the way to November with this going on in Chicago? In fact, things have gotten very bad in Chicago and they're about to get worse. I'm going to share that with you in just a second, but I'm going to let this young woman finish.
So I have a message to my fellow Americans who will watch this on TV or YouTube.
That's right.
Whose side are you on? Are you on the side of criminals or are you on the side of this country?
Right.
Stop feeling like you're a bad person for calling them illegals. Stop letting our enemies gaslight us into believing we are racist or anti-immigrant.
Right. Speak, girl, speak.
A good person isn't a coward. A good person stands up for their neighbors.
Speak.
I'll finish with my favorite Martin Luther King Jr. quote, and I hope my fellow Americans ponder this. He once said, "The question is not whether we will be extremists, but what kind of extremists we will be. The nation and the world are in dire need of creative extremists."
Yeah.
I mean, finishing with an MLK quote and everything. Don't let people call you a racist just because you want to follow the rule of law. Stop feeling ashamed for calling them illegal immigrants. That's what they are. Yeah, so things have gotten so bad in Chicago. Politically, the Democrats there, the mayor, needed to do something about it. So they're now enjoying headlines like this. Migrants to be moved out of 5 Chicago Park District sites. That's right, because right now in Chicago, because they have to house this overflow of people, they put them in city parks and set up tents and shelters there. They put them in schools and kicked the students out of the schools. They put them in YMCAs, boys clubs, all of these public facilities that the tax dollars of the city of Chicago had built and created programs for, inner city youths in the city of Chicago to be able to enjoy and have after school programs. And they're not allowed to do any of that now because it's all full of illegal immigrants, thanks to Joe Biden. Of course, the mayor hasn't done anything about it. If anything, the mayor's like, "Oh yeah, we love this because the Statue of Liberty and open arms and all that jazz." So they're getting this headline. That's it. Migrants are moved out of 5 Chicago Park District sites. We're moving them out. Don't worry, everybody. We're moving them out. But then you have to see this headline because you'll explain how they're moving them out and where they're moving them to. Chicago Tribune. Chicago and Illinois quickly moves thousands of migrants from shelters into homes. Homes across the south and west sides. But will they stay? Well, based on what we've seen from squatter rights laws in Democrat cities, I'm pretty sure they'll stay as long as they damn well please. Migrants across the city are leaving shelters in droves, their belongings stuffed into trash bags they load into Ubers or Lyfts, which they've often arranged themselves, to head to new homes. How are they getting new homes, you may ask yourself? More than 8 months after state and city leaders said they wanted to help thousands of migrants find homes in Chicago, the government assistance program covering their initial months of rent is moving faster than ever. That's right. The government of Chicago is paying months and months and months of housing costs and rent for illegal immigrants who are in this country against the law and continue to break the law every day they stay in this country. There are veterans of the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War who are injured or who have PTSD or are addicted to drugs because of the trauma that they suffered, who are living on the streets of Chicago, and they get nothing. But the people who came here illegally 6 days ago because Kamala Harris really got to the root of the problem down there in Guatemala 3 years ago as our borders are. They're getting free rent. Migrants are now mostly settling in the south and west sides where they say rent is more affordable with the approximate $1,500 a month rental assistance they say they receive from the state. Working in partnership with the city nonprofit organizations in Chicago and case managers from Catholic Charities of the Archdiocese of Chicago, the state has spent $41.4 million so far to resettle more than 5,000 households, according to the Illinois Department of Human Services. So there you go. It's true. They get their big headline. Well, we're moving them out of the city shelters. Now you can have your parks back and your soccer fields and your boys club. Don't worry. We're going to make them disappear. And meanwhile, they're handing out $1,500 a month of free money to put them in a house. While the U.S. citizens who were born here, who have worked here, who have fallen on hard times for one reason or another, wallow away living in a cardboard box on the sidewalk. This is unsustainable. We know that as a nation. And the Democrats know it as a political force. They know that their time is running out. And I can only tell you, my friends, it's just going to make them that much more desperate. Be ready. Hunker down. Your head on a swivel. We're in this together.